Have you ever found yourself in need of a quick encounter on the spot? Maybe the party went off the rails in a direction you didn't expect, or maybe you just ran out of time to plan for that night's session and you need something good and engaging on the spot. Or maybe you're just out of original ideas, you just need a little help, a little inspiration, something to grab and put into your game. Or maybe you're just building a new dungeon and you're looking to flesh it out with some cool ideas. Well, sometimes we have to think out of the box. And fortunately for us, the guys over at Nerdarchy have given us a book to help us do just that. So let's take a look at that today. Let's get into it. Hello everybody, I'm Joe and this is the DM Toolbox, your go-to place to find all the tools you need to enhance your D&D games. Now, before we get started today, I want to remind you all that I have a giveaway going on my channel in honor of hitting 500 subscribers. I'm going to be giving away this book, 5th edition Foes from Frog God Games. So if you want to win this book, take a look at my video that I posted last week. I'll put a link up here and in the description, and you can find out what you need to do to win this book. Part of that is going to be making sure you sub to the channel. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button now if you haven't done it already. And go ahead and like this video. Help me out. I'm trying to grow the channel, bring you some more awesome content. So that'll be a big help. Additionally, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at toolbox_DM so you can find out more information on future giveaways and other things I'm doing on the channel. And I also have a TikTok channel where you can check me out and I do some fun D&D short videos and little reviews and other fun content. Find me over there at DM Toolbox. So let's talk about encounters. Sometimes we need a quick encounter on the spot for a variety of reasons like I mentioned in the intro. Well, the guys over at Nerdarchy put together a book a little over a year ago. They ran a Kickstarter, which I backed, and it is a fantastic book, and I want to share it with you. Now, if you don't know Nerdarchy, they have their own YouTube channel, which you should definitely go and check out. I'll put a link in the description, but they are just a plethora of D&D knowledge. They are some old school D&D gamers that play 5th edition these days, and they are super knowledgeable, super cool guys, so definitely go check them out. This is their book, though. This is Out of the Box, which is a book filled with 55 encounters for our 5th edition games. And I'm a big fan of it. It was one of the first Kickstarters I probably backed, to be honest. And no regrets on that because it really does have some great stuff. So I want to show you the book, kind of give you a little idea of what's in here, what I like about it. We'll go over a couple of the encounters in there and just kind of let you guys see what's up and you can make your own decision on it. But it's definitely a book that I like a lot. Let's start off with the book itself. So right here, we got a nice cover art, which I like a lot. The book itself has really heavy, like thick pages. It's like a nice heavy stock of page, which I really like. The book is also got the sewn-in bindings, so it's a definitely good quality, well-built book. Nerdarchy definitely didn't mess around on this. They put out a very high quality product, which I love. The art in this book is another thing that is definitely cool. Each encounter has a little bit of artwork, which is great. And, they did a good job on just the layout of this book in general, giving us maps for different encounters, sometimes items that we might get, things like that. So definitely just a well-designed, well-put-together book. So let me start off with a little bit of the kind of intro of the book and tell you how it's laid out. First and foremost, the forward of this book is written by Matt Mercer, which is great. And he actually mentions that he uses it a little bit himself to get some inspiration for some encounters he's done. So that's a pretty nice endorsement right there on this book. But the next page in it is basically an overview of like how to use this book. So each encounter is broken up in the same exact fashion, which makes it very easy to use. There'll be a little introduction about the encounter itself. Then there'll be the description that tells you how to run the encounter. They'll have information on the environment, and then they'll have a quick reference guide, which is this little box right here. And in that, it'll tell you the suggested level, the environment, any monsters, any treasure, the difficulty of the encounter. All of that will be in that little box. So when you flip open to any encounter, you can just look at that and know exactly what you're getting into on that encounter. So I want to kind of give you three of my favorite ones. Now, these are not going to all be combat encounters. This book caters to all three pillars of D&D. exploration, roleplay, and combat. So we're going to look at a couple of these and just kind of go over them, and I'll show you what each one looks like. So the first encounter I want to show you guys is actually a roleplay one, and it's called Dinner Party. So this is our intro page right here. It shows a nice little picture. You can see there's a map of a tavern, because this is going to take place generally in the tavern, but just at some location or some time when your group is together, sitting down, eating together. And this is going to be a fully role play kind of thing. There's no monsters in this. There's no treasure in this. This is really to spark some conversation or some controversy or whatever in your game, but just to kind of give your players a little flavor, a little taste of role play. So what happens in this is your party's sitting around, they're eating, and somebody has laced their food with a truth serum. And basically, as they eat, they will have a con save, and when failed, it acts as a zone of truth spell being on them. Now, the book actually suggests that we roll the con saves in advance, like a session or 2 sessions before, if possible, so that the party kind of forgets about it, and they don't know what those rolls were for. So you just tell them, roll a d20. And you record those rolls. Later on, you check what their con modifiers are for their saving throws. You record the saving throws. Then have them roll 2 more as like kind of an advantage type thing. So if they do have advantage, you can record that. But you don't want to tell some people to roll with advantage and some not. You want everybody to roll the same dice so they just have no idea what's going on. So as they start to eat, you look at those saves that they had made in a previous time. You decide, did they pass or fail? If they fail, you slip them a note that basically tells them they're under the influence of this truth serum and they must tell the truth. Now, at this point, some players might say, oh, I stopped eating. Okay, fine. So they're under the influence of the truth serum. Now, if they don't stop eating, now we look at another roll. So we either go to their next roll, like if they rolled the 2 dice with advantage and they don't get advantage, just take whatever the next roll was. Or if they did get advantage, grab their third roll and use that. And if they fail on that, they're going to suffer the effect of a short-term madness on top of the truth serum. So they give us a short-term madness table here we can use. And one thing they suggest is, instead of rolling the D100 like you can on this table, to write down each effect on a piece of paper, throw it in a hat, and let them pick it from a hat. That way each person gets a random different effect. So that's kind of a cool way to do it. So what's the point of this encounter? It's to, again, kind of just stir the pot a little bit, right? The players might be holding secrets back about their characters. Maybe they did something wrong they don't want people to know about. Maybe the rogue stole from the paladin. Whatever it may be, now they're kind of starting to tell the truth. And what they suggest we do is throw an NPC in there to prompt the conversation. Ask them questions that they would probably normally lie about, and now they don't because of the truth serum. So this could be a lot of fun. It can cause a lot of conflict within the party, or just funny stuff to happen. Who knows? But it's definitely a cool role-play encounter. So I think that was a great example of what they can do with this book. The next encounter I want to show you is a combat encounter. But what I like about this one is it's not just about the combat. It's really about the story. This can really act as a hook into a greater campaign, or at least a multi-session story arc. This is also a tough one. This is designed for a party of level 12s at a difficulty level. A difficulty level of deadly, I'm sorry. So a deadly difficulty level. So not an easy fight by any means. So what happens in this one basically is the party's hanging out in town. They're in the tavern, whatever. And there's like an earthquake, or at least a rumbling, and they go outside just as this sinkhole in the street or in the alley or something sinks in, and part of a building nearby maybe collapses down into it. And then these grappling hooks come out, and hobgoblins start coming out of this hole, and followed by this giant black iron gauntlet that comes out, and this fire giant pulls its way out, and on its back it's got these 2 little huts, and there's more hobgoblins in the back there, and they're shooting flaming arrows into stuff. You got the hobgoblins on the ground, which hobgoblins in general are very organized and militant, so they are using like shield walls and stuff like that. So it makes for this really challenging encounter, and kind of one of the concepts behind this is that don't just throw hobgoblins. find other creatures that might have similar goals as hobgoblins or similar in their alignment or personality or traits as hobgoblins. So fire giants and hobgoblins are both lawful evil. So let's mash them together and see what happens. So it's kind of a neat concept, and it's not going to be an easy encounter for any party of that level. If they do manage to, defeat this fire giant with, you got the hobgoblins, like I said, burning stuff. The fire giant can walk through the fire. It can cause all sorts of obstacles for these players. So if your players do manage to defeat this group, now you have this giant hole in the ground that they came out of, which could lead to a whole, where did these guys come from? How'd they get a giant underground? What's going on? Are there more of them? Should we go in there and follow it? Or if they lose and they retreat, now the town gets taken over. Maybe more hobgoblins show up, more giants show up. And now you have to put together an army or something to storm this town or the city and take it back. So there's a lot of possibilities with this encounter. So I liked the design of it. I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. The third encounter I have in here is definitely my favorite in the whole book. It is another combat type encounter, but with quite the twist to it. This was kind of developed from kind of a series of what if questions. So what if we took a normally just a ambush type creature like an ooze and gave it spell casting? And how would that work? Maybe like a ring of spell story. What kind of spell would we give it? And they said, well, let's give it mirror image and see how this plays out. So what they did was they created this room. So it's just this normal square room. Party walks in through a door, and there's another door on the other end. Once the party walks in, the door shuts and locks magically behind them. In the center of this room is this transparent pillar. Once the door shuts, the floor starts lighting up in primary colors, flashing different colors like strobes, red, blue, green, going all over the place, all over the room in like these 10-foot squares, just flashing on and off in different patterns. And the pillar begins to move. It's actually a gelatinous cube. Inside it, it's got that ring of spell storing with mirror image. So it casts mirror image, and suddenly there are 4 of them on these glowing tiles. So it's all strobing and lighting up, and this gelatinous cube is changing colors. And then they say that to actually start playing music, and music of your choice. So I think it's like some Saturday Night Fever, some disco music, because it's turned this room into a big old disco floor, right? Those color disco floors is essentially what we have here. So you start playing some cool music like that. You got the strobes going. You got these gelatinous cubes, 3 of which are illusions, and the party has to figure out which one to actually attack. The other cool thing here is if any of the players actually get consumed and get stuck in the gelatinous cube, there would be mirrored images of them as well. So you'd see these 4 versions of the player in this gelatinous cube as it's moving around, and they're moving, and the lights are going, and it turns into a freaking dance party. So it's a kind of this hilarious encounter that could just be a ton of fun. You only need a party maybe level 2 or 3 for this. They suggest level 2 as a hard encounter. But just really a really interesting thing to do with something like a gelatinous cube and the lights. I think this would just be a hilarious thing, to run, and let's say the party is like, oh, I fireball the 4 of them, the 3 disappear. Well, it still has 2 more uses of mirror image, so it can recast it again. So, it can definitely be a tough encounter, a fun encounter, and just, I can see a lot of laughs coming out of this one. There is in total 55 encounters in this book of all different levels. This all one's for airships and just all sorts of stuff. Boats and just urban and forest and desert. Just something for everybody. In the back there are some new monster stat blocks. So occasionally these encounters do have a stat block that's not out of the SRD. So they include those stat blocks here because they're like, new unique creatures. And then they also have a few magic items, unique magic items here in the back as well. There's an appendix for those. So definitely a cool book, definitely worth checking out. And this to me is another one of those true, DM tools. Sometimes you just need a little help. You need a little inspiration. You trying to flesh out a dungeon, you're doing the old 5-room dungeon thing, and you just need something cool. And this can definitely be the book to help you do that. So definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description to where you can pick it up from Nerdarchy, as well as their YouTube channel. Make sure you check them out and subscribe to them, like them, because they're phenomenal guys. So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget about my giveaway for 5th edition foes. Go to the video, follow the video. I'll give you directions in there and what you have to do to actually win the book to enter. I'm going to be doing the drawing for that on, I believe I said New Year's Eve. So yeah, let's get ready for that. And hopefully everybody has a wonderful, awesome Christmas and a great New Year. I don't know if there will be a video next week with the New Year. I am a New Year's baby. My birthday is New Year's Day, so I may not get around to a video next week, but I will see. So until next time, guys, roll those dice.